Hello, this is TOEIC Reading 2, Unit 6. And the topic is Participles and Participle Clauses. So we're going to look at participles, participle clauses, present and past participles, and the omission of be or having been. So what are participles? So we have present participles, they end in ing, and past participles, which usually end in ed, but there are also irregular forms such as eaten, drunk, etc. And these can both be used as adjectives, and that fact, which we'll look at later, causes some confusion for language learners. So adjectives describe nouns. Okay, so here we have the swimming class was canceled. So normally we think of swimming as a verb. I am swimming. They were swimming. But here it's an adjective. Swimming class, a good class, a computer class. So here you can see good is an adjective. Well, in the same way, swimming here is an adjective. The missing document was never found. So we could say the old document, the important document, the missing document. Here, missing, like swimming, is an adjective. Tom put on his freshly ironed shirt. So ironed here is not the past of iron. It's the past participle, and it's being used as an adjective. The red shirt, the wrinkled shirt, the ironed shirt. And there was a half-eaten pizza on the coffee table. So here, eaten, half-eaten is an adjective. So when we do exercises, you can pause the video and do them yourself and then come back and I'll give you the answers, or you can just do them with me. So fill in the blanks with the present participles, ing, or past participles, normally ed, of the following verbs. Tire, miss, break, exhaust. The girl with the, we're going to use miss in the ing form, the present participle, missing, leg, oh, sorry, broken leg, not missing. Broken leg needs to go to the emergency room. 2, the man with the, here we need missing arm, lost it in the war. 3, John has, you can say, a tiring or exhausting, very tiring job. And 4, the tired or exhausted workers need a break. So the workers are exhausted because their job is exhausting. All right, so both participles can be put in front of or after the noun. So let's see how we do that. So the missing document was never found. So there we put it right in front of the noun. But in B, it's the document is missing. It's terrible, it's good. So if we want to put it after, what do we need to put between the noun and the participle? The verb to be. Tom put on his freshly ironed shirt. His shirt is ironed. So again, if you put the present or past participle as an adjective after the noun, you need to put the verb be in some form between the two. Okay, so now we have the same ideas from these sentences down here, but now we're going to put the participles after the noun. Okay, so the girl's leg was, so here we have be. Broken, so she needed to go to the hospital. The man's arm is missing because he was injured in the war. John's job is tiring, not tired, or exhausting. The workers need a break because they are tired or exhausted. Good. Next, present participles are used to describe nouns that cause feelings. So now we're going to see how present participles as adjectives and past participles as adjectives are different. So, present participles as adjectives. For example, the movie was so boring that we all fell asleep. That roller coaster was really frightening. Molly has an exhausting job, so she needs a lot of rest. So the movie caused us to feel bored, so it was boring. The roller coaster caused us to feel frightened, so it was frightening. And Molly's job makes her feel exhausted, so it is exhausting. All right, and past participles used as adjectives. And they describe nouns that experience or have the feeling being described. We were so bored that we fell asleep during the movie because it was boring. We were bored. We were really frightened on the roller coaster. I almost threw up because the roller coaster, was frightening. Molly is usually exhausted when she gets home from work because her job is exhausting. All right, now see if you understand the difference. Fill in the blanks using the verbs frighten, humiliate, surprise, excite, bore, and frustrate in either the present participle or past participle form. Okay, here are the answers. Miss Mars was really, we're going to use surprised because she didn't expect it. In which form? Surprised, that's how she felt to see her friends at the mall. We have some, we're going to use excite. So the news makes us feel excited, so it is exciting news. We're having a baby. Dwayne felt, we're going to use humiliate. Humiliated. Do-yoon took a break because he was not bored. His homework was confusing, so he was frustrated. The Valley Decoration Company is what? Employees do the same exact thing every day. Boring. And the horror movie was so frightening that is so frightening that I can't watch it anymore. All right, so now participle clauses. So we can also use present participles, as I mentioned earlier, with be to form the present progressive, as in Miss Park Sua is waiting to see the doctor right now, is waiting. Kyle is cleaning his messy apartment at the moment. Professor Gonzalez is getting, I should say, ready. Oops. To teach a class now. So when you use the present progressive, you're talking about right now, or at the moment. So use put, take, come, and drink to complete these sentences using the present progressive. The baby, take, he or she is taking a nap on the couch. A big storm, come, is coming, let's go inside. The cat, drink, he, she, it, is drinking some water in the kitchen. The actress, put, she is putting on her costume. Good. Present participles can be used to show that two things are happening at the same time, or that one action is happening during another action at the same time or during another action. So Dr. Lee ran around the track listening to music on her iPhone. So she's doing two things, or she was running and listening. So Dr. Lee was listening to music while she was running around the track. So that's what we would normally say, this second sentence. Dr. Lee was listening to music while she was running around the track, but in a little bit more formal manner, we would say it this way. Dr. Lee ran around the track listening to music on her iPhone. My dog Sherlock greeted me at the door, barking and wagging his tail. So he was doing three things: greeting me, barking, and wagging his tail. The entrepreneurs concluded their meeting saying they would continue the discussion next week. So it's nice. It was nice to see you. The meeting went well. We'll see you next week. Something like that. Okay, so use sing, tell, and try to complete the following sentences. Try. Dana crawled on the floor, trying to find his keys. The friends hugged. Tell, telling each other how much they had missed each other. Miss Jung rode her bike, singing a song through the park. Good. Next, present participles can be an explanation for a situation. So needing some cash, Ye-jun went to the nearest ATM. So the reason she went to the ATM was that she needed some cash, or he needed some cash. Because he needed some cash, he went to the nearest ATM. So this sentence starting with because is the way we would normally speak. But we can also express the same idea in a little bit more formal way. Okay. Knowing the test would be really challenging, Stacy studied all weekend, meaning because she knew the test would be really challenging, Stacy studied all weekend. Okay. And having no more food at home, Mr. and Mrs. Anderson went out to eat. That means because they had no food at home, they went out to eat. Okay, so use hope, no one worry to complete the following sentences. So hope, hoping to get her shopping done quickly. Pam went to the store when it wasn't crowded. All right, and now worrying, or it could be knowing, but worrying I think is better. That was what I was thinking when I made the sentence. Worrying his grandmother was ill, Heath stopped by her house to check on her. And 24, knowing it was probably going to rain, Kristen brought her umbrella. So because she knew it was probably going to rain, Kristen brought her umbrella. All right, good. Past participles can be used to describe past actions. Virginia finished the race first, followed by her two friends. Okay, so we have finished, that's the simple past. Followed is actually a reduction. So in the full form, it would be Virginia finished the race first, and she was followed by her two friends. She was followed. Okay, that's the passive be plus a past participle. So you can see that followed is not the simple past, it's the past participle. It's just a reduced clause. All right. Surprised by the news, Timothy called his mother to see if she was all right. So surprised is the reduced form of because he was surprised. Okay, again, it's the passive, so it's the past participle. All right, so use horrify, exhaust, and confuse to do 25, 26, and 27. Mrs. Hong went home early because she was exhausted from doing so much work. So exhausted. Because he or she was horrified by the sight of so much blood at the accident, one of the onlookers screamed, "Ah!" Was horrified, horrified. Okay. Because they were confused because of the bad directions, the Johnsons got lost on their way to the party. So confused. All right. Okay, and as we just saw, past participles are used to form the passive with be. Toyota automobiles are made in Japan. Kia cars are built in Korea. BMWs are manufactured in Germany. All right, so use catch, wax, steal, and make in the passive, the past passive, to complete the following sentences. The limousine, you could say was made yesterday, was stolen yesterday, or was waxed. That's the best answer because we need steal and make for other sentences. The amazing cake was made at Barb's Bakery. The secret information was stolen by the spy, and the accident was caught on camera. Okay, we're getting there. So present participles versus past participles. Let's look at another difference. So present participles can be used with intransitive verbs. Intransitive verbs take no objects. So jog. Jog is not followed by an object. So we can use that in the present participle form, the ing form. Jogging on the beach, Sally found some dead jellyfish. So that's actually reduced from while she was jogging on the beach. And itching all over, Ivan had to see a dermatologist. A dermatologist is a skin doctor. So that's reduced from because he was itching all over. All right. So fill in the blanks with the present participles of the following verbs: arrive, sit, and rise. So the sun, rising in the east, the sun brings us light and warmth. In the front row, sit, sitting in the front row, the fan was able to shake hands with the singer. Arriving by train, the executives needed to take a taxi to the office. Present participles can also be used with transitive verbs, which are verbs that take objects. So you can read a book. You can see someone reading her book for several hours. Tina's eyes began to hurt because she had been reading her book. So it's reduced. Seeing his parents after 2 years apart, Oscar began to cry. That's reduced from because he was seeing, okay, because he was seeing his parents. So fill in the blanks with the present participles of the following verbs: examine, hold, and watch. Holding, could be watching, but holding the newborn baby very carefully, the father was proud but nervous. Examining the sick patient, Dr. Choi quickly found out what was wrong. Watching the angry bear very closely, the hikers quietly backed away. Okay, and now past participles. Are used when the object of the participle is the subject of the main clause. So, for example, angered by the robbery, the businessman called the police. So, the main clause is the businessman called the police. And the subject is the businessman. So who was angered by the robbery? The businessman was. Because he was angered by the robbery, the businessman called the police. All right. So this is another reduced clause. Built 4,600 years ago, the Great Pyramid of Giza is one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The ancient world. So what was built 4,600 years ago? The Great Pyramid of Giza was. So this is the main clause, and this is the subject, and it's therefore the object of the participle. What was built? The Great Pyramid. All right, so fill in the blanks with the past participles of situate, injure, and feature. Situated in Manhattan, the New York Stock Exchange is the world's largest stock exchange. Featured in many online ads, the shoe company started increasing its business significantly. And injured in the explosion, many people had to be treated by EMTs, emergency medical technicians. All right, and the last part, the omission of being and having been. So sometimes they are left out. More reduced clauses. which I guess is a little bit informal, a little bit formal. Sorry. So being a student, Henry has very little money. So that's a little bit formal. That's what I was trying to say. A student has very little money. So you go from being a student, Henry has very little money, to a student, Henry has very little money. So what you're doing is omitting being. Okay. Normally we would say, because he is a student, Henry has very little money. That's how we would normally talk and write. But being a student, Henry has very little money. That's a little bit formal. And a student, Henry has very little money. That's a little bit more formal. We don't normally talk or write that way. Anyways, being given a second chance to take the exam, Ellen studied harder for it. So again, normally we would just say or write, because she was given a second chance to take the exam. But this is just another way to speak or write. With being and having been, and then omitting them also. They're a little more formal. So we can omit being and just say, given a second chance to take the exam, Ellen studied harder for it. Okay. And then, having been robbed on his way home from work, Mr. Wong called the police, or robbed on his way home from work. Okay. So B and C basically mean the same thing. I don't see any difference. All right, so now in 41, 42, and 43, delete being or having been. Having been cooked improperly, the steak could not be eaten. Cooked improperly, the steak could not be eaten. Being a nurse, Stephanie was able to save the choking man's life. A nurse, Stephanie was able to save the choking man's life. Being given a car for his birthday, Dan could easily get to his university classes. Or given a car. All right. And now do the opposite, add being or having been to the following sentences. So being a successful sales manager, Dylan was easily able to find a new job when he moved. Having been traded to a new team, the baseball player and his family had to move to a new city. So being indicates that something is true now, and having been indicates that you're talking about the past. Having been fully renovated, the old house was ready to sell. You could use just being in both 46 and 45. Having been refers to the action that took place, and being refers to the current condition as a result of the action. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you for participating. You can leave questions or comments below or send me a message. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.